It's a Sabbath. Jesus just performed his first miracle in a synagogue in front of the Jews. He gets out of the synagogue, and then what? As it was customary, after the Sabbath service, Jesus would go to the house of one of his disciples or one of the people present in the synagogue to eat with them. Remember another passage in the Gospels where Jesus, out of the synagogue, he goes to eat in the house of the Pharisees. This time, Jesus goes to eat, or that was the plan, to the house of Simon Peter. Let's read what Mark has to say. Mark 1:29. Kai euthus ek tes synagoges exeltsontes elton eistenoikian Simonos kai Andreo meta Jacobo kai Ioannu. The grammatical structure of the sentence is very easy, so let's try to follow it. You have the sky, which is the usual and conjunction, euthus, the usual adverb used by Mark to move from one episode to the next. And then you have this ek tes synagoges, which indicates a motion from, out of. And then you have this exeltsontes, which is a participle, we're gonna see. And this elson is the principal verb. All right. And then you have the place where they go, eisten oikian. So this is a motion into. All right, motion into. And then you have these two genitives, Simonos kai Andreo, which indicates of whom the house was. All right. And then you have this meta, Jacobo kai Ioannu, which indicates with whom Jesus is going. So let's start from the verbs. Exeltsontes, elsan. You see, they come basically from the same verb, which we've seen many times. The verb is the verb erchomai, which means to go or to come, depending on the movement. Now, this verb here, exelsantes, has also this preposition in front, which indicates a motion out of. But both exelsantes and elsan are conjugated in the aorist tense. Now, the principal verb is elsan, which is a third person plural, while exelsantes is a participles, as we said, and it's in the nominative masculine plural. All right, because it's agreeing with the subject, which is a third person plural. It's talking about Jesus and his disciples. So elsen, they went, exelsantes, coming out. So coming out, they went. Coming out from where? Well, this is the place where they're coming out. Ek tes synagoges. Ek, this preposition is the same that we see here in front of the verb, indicates a motion out of. Out of what? Well, tes is the definite article, the, and you see this eta sigma ending. It indicates a genitive feminine singular. And it's in the genitive because the preposition ek wants the genitive. And this noun, synagogue, we already seen it, is the synagogue. So coming out of the synagogue, they went. These two words at the beginning, we know them very well, kai and euthus immediately. So, and soon after, coming out of the synagogue, they went where? Well, eis, this preposition that we know again very well, we've seen it many times, indicates entering somewhere into and wants the accusative case. And in fact, we have it here, eta nu, alpha nu. This is the accusative feminine singular. And the oikia is the house, all right, indicates the house. So they enter the house of whom? Simonos kai Andreu. These are two genitive singular of Simon and Andrew. So they went to the house of Simon Peter. Meta is a preposition that may mean many things. In this case, means with and wants the genitive after it. And in fact, you see this genitive omicron upsilon, masculine singular. And so this means together with James and John. So putting all together, and immediately after getting out of the synagogue, they enter the house of Simon and Andrew with James and John. Out of all the three evangelists, Mark, Matthew, and Luke, that tell this story of Jesus and his disciple going to Simon Peter's house to cure Simon Peter's mother in law, Mark is the only one that specifies that this house is not just Simon Peter's house, it's the house of Simon and Andrew. And also specify that with them were James and John. These four, Simon, Andrew, James, and John, are the four that Jesus had just picked up from the lake, right? He saw them there as fishermen and he had just called them. This particular is another hint that this Gospel Mark is really coming directly from the voice of St. Peter. Peter is speaking about, very likely, about this episode in first person. And of course, he's talking about the fact that this house was not just his house, it was the house of himself, but also of his brother Andrew. They were not from Capernaum, they were from Bethsaida, but both of them probably they had established their home in Capernaum, close to the lake of Galilee where they would fish, together with James and John.